Today on the Topic Show, Joe Biden greenlights a $50 billion quote-unquote loan to Ukraine. Montana Supreme Court blocks a ban on child transitioning, sparking debate. PinkNews founders are accused of sexual misconduct. Cadillac F1 team will start, but using Ferrari engines. Stellantis to build a $4.3 billion EV battery plant. And Stanley thermoses, while their mugs are being recalled. All of that and much, much more on the Topping Show. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, we're still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase. Yes, it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part podcast, you have General Motors Cadillac F1 team to begin, but they will be using Ferrari engines as they try to retool their manufacturing. So they will eventually use Cadillac engines and make about 3 laps around the racetrack. I'm only partially kidding, but they will perhaps have that GM quality, which I guess is a fun gamble, kind of like a coin toss. You may or may not get screwed. I'm only partially exaggerating. I do appreciate the Cadillac CT5V Blackwing and the CT4V Blackwing, the last stick shifts that General Motors makes. Extraordinary feats of engineering. If I won lottery, I'd probably buy one of each, probably in blue or orange, but I partially digress. This comes to us thanks to Jerry Perez, who's a writer at The Drive. Here you can see that iconic Ferrari logo. He says, quote, Cadillac F1 team will run Ferrari engines until GM power unit is ready. Which, yeah. You can see that iconic prancing pony there. Now, driving the article, they say, quote, Ferrari power unit and gearbox will propel Formula One newcomer Cadillac F1 team for the first 2 seasons in the sport. Mariano confirmed the multi-year agreement, putting the rest to rumors that Honda was also looking to supply General Motors' work team to the end of 2027 season, which, yeah, if I had my choice, I'd say Honda's probably the best bet. Right down biased. I love the old Honda Civic Si. Great for the track and for going to business meetings. I mean, yeah, Honda's been known for reliability for decades. Not as fast as the competition, but darn near bulletproof reliability, but I partially digress. They continue saying, quote, it's been known since the early days that General Motors would not have its powertrain ready for the team's maiden season, opening the door to a variety of engine manufacturers ranging from Renault, which, fun fact, also owns Nissan, Honda, and of course Ferrari. Liberty Media first rejected Andretti's application. However, there seemed to be no need to pursue an engine deal, but the recent happenings after the Las Vegas GP revived negotiations with the available suppliers. Now they say, quote, Ferrari NV today announces a multi-year agreement starting from 2026 with Andretti Formula Racing LLC regarding the supply of power unit and gearbox to the racing team led by TWG Global and General Motors. Subject to Andretti Formula Racing LLC reviewing written confirmation from the FIA, F1 that its entry to the 2026 FIA Formula 1 Championship has been accepted and approved. They also say it's interesting to see the Andretti last name mentioned in the statement, considering the official confirmation from F1 Liberty Media issued a few weeks ago failed to mention Andretti in several pages. As I mentioned before, the new team head to the F1 grid is really the same as the old one, assembled by Andretti, but modified to appease the powers that be at Liberty Media. We also know that last week, Cadillac F1 confirmed the hiring of Graham Loudon as team principal. Loudon brings decades of experience to the motorsport world, including F1, WEC, IndyCar, and NASCAR. He's also done, not purposely trying to butcher this, but kind of think it's inevitable. I don't think I got this pronunciation. ZHOU, so Zhao Guanyu, Guanyu, who left his manager, who left without a seat for 2025 season. So, it'll be interesting. I mean, Cadillac especially has been known trying to do more of a performance brand. Pretty much I would say the revolution going from luxury to more performance, I would say started around The Matrix, which they didn't sponsor the whole movie series, but yeah, ever notice how all the performance cars in that movie, most of them were, the ones being driven were General Motors products, especially the Cadillacs, which in that iteration became much more angular, much more aggressive of styling. And again, the Cadillac V Series are awesome. I mean, you get a Cadillac CT5V Blackwing, comes with a stick shift and a V8. It's track ready out the box. That is phenomenal. I mean, there's so few options for that in North America right now. It's kind of sad in and of itself. But yeah, I think it'll be good marketing by GM. Granted, hopefully the engines don't blow up when they do start using their own motors. But I think it'd be good marketing. Obviously, when it comes to these types of these types of partnerships and these types of marketing initiatives, you could debate how much of an ROI is there really. I mean, a lot of people say it's just a status symbol. Some people say it's to elevate the power of the brand. Again, the cars they're racing in F1 aren't the ones you can go and buy on Monday, which used to be the old adage of the old NASCAR. But I know this is an entirely different series. But again, a lot of luxurious people watch F1. I mean, most of the logos you see are multi-trillion-dollar tech companies. So I suspect it'll be good for the brand of Cadillac. Again, as long as if they can make their engines even more robust, I'd be pretty impressed. Not too surprised they're going to be for using Ferrari engines. I mean, a lot of teams, a lot of people, those teams actually do buy engines from Mercedes and Ferrari throughout the years. Again, Mercedes would be a much more direct competitor to Cadillac, so I'm not surprised they wouldn't go the Mercedes route. But let me know in the comments. Do you think this will be a great, successful business venture for Cadillac? It's one of the very few, newer teams in F1. But let me know what thoughts are, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news: Stellantis to build a $4.3 billion EV battery plant in Spain. Or all 18 people want to buy it. I'm kidding. 19. Now this comes to us thanks to Sam, who's a writer at CNBC. And they say, quote, Dodge maker Stellantis and China's cattle team to team up to build a $4.3 billion EV battery plant in Spain. Which, you can see a sad guy working at Stellantis. I only assume he's sad because he has to work on the vehicles they make now, which, yeah, gone are the days where they make the things what customers wanted, like the good old Hemis with a V8 and a stick shift, which, the last iteration of Dodge was truly a feat of marvel engineering. They had the fastest production car on the planet at one point. It was 0 to 60 1.66 seconds. That's incredible. You're also, you have to be on a very specialized track, and you're running this, basically slick tires. It's basically race tires. You wouldn't take this to the grocery store. I would, but the average person would never do that. But yeah, they've been leaning more and more into the EV trend, and yeah, let's just say there's a reason they're starting to fast track the gas-powered Charger over the EV variant that they first said the EV was going to come first. Then they found out not a lot of people want that computer on wheels when they want that type of vehicle. They want a good old Hemi, although they have to sell for twin-turbo straight six, which in BMW, sure, that's awesome. BMW's perfected that powertrain for decades, but yeah, when I want a Charger, yeah, it's going to have a good old V8 and a stick shift if I ever get to that point in life. Obviously, I have to buy one used, but I partially digress. And they say, quote, automaker Stellantis, which, again, Stellantis owns Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, Jeep, and then more internationally, you also have Maserati, Fiat, and a bunch of other brands that most Americans will never see on the streets. Alfa Romeo. Now, they say again, automaker Stellantis and Chinese battery giant CATL announced plans to build a joint venture of $4.3 billion lithium iron phosphate battery plant in Spain. Dodge maker Stellantis says the plant will boost the car's... this isn't a joke. CNBC, so I guess it's kind of is a joke, but they say, again, Dodge maker Stellantis said the plant will boost the car giant's best-in-class credentials in Europe. LFP credentials, specifically, enabling the company to offer more high-quality and affordable battery electric cars and SUVs. People say a lot of things when it comes to Stellantis. None of those words are quality. Just the door gaps alone on a Maserati are so large and comical, you could fit a tube of toothpaste in them. Doug DeMuro went viral years ago and did a review of one of those monstrosities, which, yeah, don't even get me started on Jeeps. A great brand, people buy it no matter what, and yet it's one of the most unreliable vehicles on the planet. So it is also impressive that they still sell that stuff. But yeah, it is comical when they say, yeah, we're going to work on quality. No. They say it comes at a time when Europe's automakers are facing a perfect storm of challenges on a full road of electrification. That's a nice way of saying BYD and China. Because again, you can't beat China when it comes to price point or ripping off technology. They have perfected those skills pretty much the past couple decades quite successfully. Which is why darn near everything is made there. So again, that's why I'm always, again, not financial advice, but I'm so skeptical about the automotive market right now. Because again, a lot of people are going, the consumers don't want EVs. Governments are forcing them. The rate at which people are buying EVs is decreasing. But the thing is, you can't beat China when it comes to EV manufacture, mass production. So I suspect without massive tariffs globally with all these countries, BYD is just going to become the dominant automaker bar none. I might be wrong, though. I hope I am. Now, they continue saying, quote, the 50-50 joint venture could reach up to 50 gigawatt hours, subject to the evolution of the market for electric vehicles in Europe and requisite government support, aka government handouts and coercion to force them to make more EVs. The facility will be built in Stellantis Zaragoza plant in northeastern Spain, and it's expected to bring up and running by the end of 2026. Dodge maker Stellantis said the plant will, boost your cars. Yeah, they won't. It won't boost the best in class rating, or no one's going to think that because of this. Now, they also say, quote, it comes at a time when Europe's automakers are facing a perfect storm of challenges on the road to full electrification, including a lack of affordable models, a slower than anticipated rollout of charging points, and the prospect of targeted U.S. tariffs. Now, Stellantis chairman John Elkan said, quote, this important joint venture with our partner Cattle will bring innovative battery production to a manufacturing site that is already a leader in clean and renewable energy, helping drive a 360 sustainable growth approach. Now, this is how, it's hilarious. This is how the market responded to this. And again, you have to be careful when it comes to the single variable analysis, when it comes to the stock market. But, I mean, usually when you have these types of announcements or big announcements, this is a multi-billion-dollar investment, it usually does affect the stock price by a little bit. And it looks like this is pretty negligible. It went up by not 1%, not 2%, about 5%. It went up by 0.3%. I guess they should be just happy it didn't go down. The stock price, wow. Again, not financial advice. Year to date is down 38%. Makes sense because I know one person who's bought a Dodge this past year, and they got it because it was heavily, heavily discounted from the dealership. They're very desperate to move those products. So, I am so skeptical when it comes to all community ills. And again, part of it is government interventionism. So I know why some are being pushed to make EVs, but again, we'll see if this is actually, if they can really turn around Stellantis. I'm so skeptical. They also have way too many brands. I think it's up to 17 different brands under their portfolio, so they're spread quite thin. And again, the consumer adoption rate is decreasing. So, but let me know in the comments. Do you think this is a great move by Stellantis to turn things around and get them back on the right path, or do you think this is just wasting more funds on things that won't pan out for them? Let me know, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Going over to the Cultural Report podcast, we have PinkNews founders accused of sexual misconduct. Now, this comes to us thanks to the good old libs of TikTok. I should, not spoiler, I should give you a visual warning because they look as creepy as, they're quite disturbing. Now, libs TikTok says, quote, breaking, Anthony James and Benjamin Cohen, the founders of the LGBTQ propaganda news site PinkNews, has been accused of sexual misconduct by more than 30 members of their own staff. Who could have possibly seen this coming? Which, they look, I want to say they look like they look how you'd expect. Now, I'm not a Harry Potter aficionado in terms of, I don't know it word for word. However, I did read the books and saw some of the movies growing up, and I can say for sure Harry Potter does not have a t-shirt like that. So it's a bastardized Harry Potter costume, the gentleman on the left. He's got, the glasses are terrible. The glasses are maybe 3 times what they should be in terms of the size, so obviously that's off. He's got wrong glasses for Harry Potter. He has a wand and looks like a robe, and he does have a Hogwarts themed, or at least the colors of the attire Hogwarts, but it's a dress shirt, and they painted on the dress shirt saying, I love, trans rights, which I read Harry Potter. I know that's not in the book. There's some weird stuff in there, don't get me wrong, but that's not in there. And I think I've followed PinkNews for a couple years. They are extreme far left news site. And again, I recommend you read them because the more you know, or rather, you want to have a well-rounded opinion. Also, if you want to look at it as a kind of a cultural warrior, or look at it from like a competition or combative perspective, You always want to know, like a wise warrior once said, you want to know thy enemy more than you know thyself. So you want to know what are they talking about? What kind of lies are they pushing, perhaps? So I've been following them for a little while in terms of that new site. I think I follow it on the Facebook, and yeah, it's mostly trash, but at least you kind of know what they're talking about over there. And you also have, looks like his partner is dressed up as, completely ridiculous. He's dressed up as Malfoy. He has a wig on. With his body composition, he very much have been he's much more suited for one of Malfoy's cronies. Because, yeah, and he's wearing a bastardized Slytherin robe, but it's got rainbows all over that. Again, not accurate to the movie. He's also holding looks like a dinner plate. It says, I love LGBTQ rights. Yeah, it didn't go as far as I thought it could. And again, right now it's just accused. There's no hard evidence. They'll get their day in court. So we'll see what the future holds. One or two usually gets some people, gets their attention. 30, that's a pretty big number. But again, just want to make sure it's clarified. Right now they're just accused. Though I would argue they are guilty of looking terrible from a fashion perspective. Look at this. That looks rudimentary to say the least, but I partially digress. And it got about 500,000 views and 20,000 likes. Now, looks like Libs of TikTok also pinned the source. And let's see, it's from humanevents.com. And they have Benjamin, what's this? Let me pull that up really quick here. So Benjamin Cohen, he, him pronouns in his profile is the founder and CEO. And Anthony James is a he, him. He's a COO of the company PinkNews. Now, diving down to the other comment section here, you have Hazel Appleyard saying, quote, really? Honestly, I'm shocked. Who would have thought the founders of this horrendous website would have be horrendous people? Didn't see it coming. Getting 313 likes. Libs of TikTok did respond saying, I'm absolutely shocked. Getting 144 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, 30 members, that's a Diddy level perversion. Can't say I'm surprised, getting 88 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, it's always them, getting 172 likes, which, no, it's not always them. In fact, it's false. Unfortunately, the public school does their fair amount of damage as well. Not just mentally, but try to keep them out of the family friendly, physically to the kids as well. Base Electrician says, quote, how much do you think they hated printing this headline? And PinkNews says, it's a headline from PinkNews.com saying, Donald Trump declares victory in 2024 presidential election. Getting 49 likes, which, yeah, a lot of the memes that they post on the Facebook are very much bombastically against Trump and pretty much fueling as much hate as they can against the opposition. Very, very, very rarely ever actually bringing up any articulate arguments or, reasons to vote for the other side that aren't just vetted in, political identity. Let's see. Libercat Media TM has a parody from Jaws. Republican Canadian girl says, I'm shocked, getting 9 likes, which feels so bad for her. She is described herself as God MAGA Tradwife. I feel bad for her because she's stuck in the People's Republic of Canada. She's so close to freedom. She's like right there. And yet she's stuck where she can't defend herself with a firearm, even own a gun in most cases. Don't have power of free speech, and a totalitarian POS as a leader who is allegedly the bastard son of the Castro. Fidel, specifically. She only got 9 likes, but I'll make her. There, she got 10 likes. There we go. Reddit Echo Chamber says, excuse me, sure, your pronouns are showing. And I forgot if this is White House Press. Is it a White House Press event? We had a biological man wearing a dress, having short Hillary Clinton hair, pearls, and his bulge is showing. Getting 89 likes for that one. Scrolling down more and more. Alan says, it seems like they keep proving conspiracy theories right. There's a little chalkboard that says experts, and there's no checks under there. Conspiracy theories, and it's like, was it 10, 20, 37 check marks under there, getting 14 likes. Bow-tied Queen also says, quote, just because your lifestyle is disgusting doesn't mean I'm afraid of you, getting 4 likes. Little Simpson gif there. James says the Lisa Simpson meme where she's, talking to a crowd of people. She has like a projector behind her. The projector says, quote, the plus includes pedos, getting 47 likes, which, yeah, it's interesting. It's quite horrifying when they are people of that cultural and political ideology that actually push for what they call maps. And not like maps that are useful, like the ones from Dora the Explorer or from your grandpa's glove box to actually help you get to a destination. And again, cover your ears if you have trouble listening. Their definition, and it's horrifying that they're actually serious, is they want to have tolerance for maps, which they call minor attracted peoples. Which, disgusting. Yeah, can't but think. Probably be best safe to throw them in jail, but that's just my 3 cents. Used to be 2 cents, but 40-year hyperinflation gotta be 3 cents. Lisa did get 47 likes for that statement. Let's see. Wireman says, why are the alphabets always like that awful? And there's a pride flag with Satan written on it. And what does it say? Satan loves what? Well, I remember the Target thing was they had an enamel pin, well, metallic, well, Chinese in metal. High quality, I'm sure. But there's actually a pin at Target last year where they had the picture of Satan saying Satan respects pronouns. People bought that. I'm sure they sold out in San Francisco, don't get me wrong. But the overall cultural backlash in the US was so strong, they actually shelved a couple of those products. Well, more accurately, took it off the shelves. Now, this picture also has a picture of Satan that says, "Not today, Jesus," and a creepy looking guy also wearing that t-shirt. That did get 21 likes. So we'll see. And we'll see if the evidence comes to the forefront, or maybe they get their day in court, or like most of these cases, it seems like more often than not, they'll probably just settle outside of court for an undisclosed amount. I'm not sure if they would bankrupt them, because again, 30 is a pretty big number. Obviously, one is too many, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of thinking they have the propensity to be guilty, and it seems like most of the comments here are in agreement of that. But let me know, are you surprised by these accusations? Do you think they'll actually go to court? And do you think this will actually decrease any of the support for PinkNews? I mean, when I follow the PinkNews on like the Facebook, 95 to 99 of the comments are just all an echo chamber, giving accolades to the original poster. Usually someone who's just giving Kamala accolades for reasons. There's not a lot of political or ideological diversity in the comment section, but do you think they'll just stick with the program no matter what happens to the founders? Do you think they'll stick up for him regardless if any evidence does come to the forefront? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Biden greenlighting a $50 billion loan for Ukraine. Now, if you're just listening, you missed my hand gestures on the Rumble or the YouTube, which I use quotation marks because, yeah, I like most quote-unquote loans we give to other countries, they don't get paid back. They certainly don't get paid back in interest. I actually laughed when Zelensky, I think, well, depends if some people call him president, think dictator might be more accurate, since he threatened to cancel elections unless we paid for them. And he also shut down churches and his opposition parties. But yeah, I remember I laughed when he said, us giving them billions of dollars was an investment. When again, look at the business perspective, or even just global trade in general, we're not their top 10 trading partners. Well, ironically, the top 10 trading partners of Ukraine are mostly adversarial to the United States. And spoiler, they don't make a lot of things that we need. They make a little bit of fertilizer. So I think we're the number 15th trading partner with them. It's still negligible to our global partnerships with folks. And let's just say, yeah, interestingly enough, every time there's a hurricane or natural disaster or anything bad that happens to the U.S., yeah, all the countries we give money to, none of them lend a hand. I mean, France, we bailed out 2 world wars. They gave us that nice statue. That was nice. But we've been bailing them out ever since. Talk about a sunken cost fallacy. We just keep throwing money over there. But I partially digress, getting to the latest business blunder, more accurate, political blunder of wasting our tax dollars. You have career liar Karine Jean-Pierre, which I want she can't help but think she gets an F- for fashion today, which is saying something. She's usually like a D. Looks like she's wearing a rudimentary sweater you get at the Gap, which somehow still in business. I have no idea how, but in all seriousness, this does come to us thanks to Libs of TikTok. She says, quote, breaking Biden administration greenlights a $50 billion loan to Ukraine. Yeah.
The United States and G7 are now making good on that commitment. Together, we will leverage income earned from frozen Russian sovereign assets to provide a total of $50 billion of extraordinary revenue acceleration ERA loans to Ukraine. This will lend vital support to the people of Ukraine as they defend their country, and it also makes clear aggressors and tyrants will be responsible for the damage they cause.
Oh, the ultimate pot calling the kettle black. Yeah. Uh-huh. Got 650,000 views and 4,000 likes. The first comments coming from Wall Street Silver saying, quote, that loan will never be repaid. It will disappear into the abyss that is Ukraine and the Swiss bank accounts. Getting 433 likes, which, again, we've given them about $181 billion thus far in not just cash, but also arms, armaments, and physical materials. And, yeah, spoiler, they're the most corrupt country in the EU. Or, they're not in the EU yet. Or no, they're in the EU. They're not in NATO yet. They keep adding to that more and more. But, yeah, it's just a ridiculous waste of money that, again, we'll never get back. Like, when was the last time you heard of any country paying us back, yellow and paying us back with interest to make it worth our while? Yeah, ridiculous. AKA says, what disgrace, loans my ass, getting 406 likes. Yeah, it's also interesting how we've sent so much money to them with no strings attached and no accountability. Yeah, it's no wonder that, I mean, no one's surprised that, oh yeah, there's more and more money just disappearing over there. Paul Zupa says, quote, Biden hates America, in case you didn't realize that, getting 50 likes. RT says, quote, this is Biden's money laundering program called USA Free Grain. It is Biden and laundromat. And it says 10% for the big guy on lots of bags of money. And all the laundry machines are filled with cash with the Ukrainian flag on it, which also F- for design. Their flag is just 2 different colors and 2 bars. How lazy can it be? Really? Not even a fancy insignia? Just 2 bars, that's your flag? Really? Rudimentary, to say the least. I got 253 likes. Audio Space has a picture. It's a fat guy on a couch getting a bunch of water from a pipe, and he's quite big. It says Ukraine. There's someone starving getting drops out of the pipe of water. That's called Americans, getting 243 likes. You have, this is obviously AI, but you have Biden at a strip club with Zelensky face photoshopped on a stripper with the Ukrainian flag as a bikini, and Biden's just throwing more cash at him, getting 106 likes. Rebecca says, nothing to see here, folks. There's a screenshot of the depressing U.S. national debt, which, thanks to the ineptitudes and corruption of Democrats and Republicans, is now over $36 trillion. From her screenshot, it's $36.2 trillion, which, yeah, so bad. People have no idea. We spend more on the interest of our loans than we do on defense. And for decades, people have been rallying against the U.S. spending, debatedly spending too much money on defense. And they said, oh, this is such a big expenditure. We spend more on the interest. That's not even putting money towards the principal of the loan that we took out. Ridiculous. She deserves more. She only got 37 likes. Let's make it 38. We also have that immigration guy saying, quote, Congress needs to step in and stop this horse crap. $50 billion let's is insane. First, the amount. Second, Biden forgave the last quote-unquote loan. That means this is just another gift. Yep, 142. Let's say 143 likes. Frog Team 6 has a picture, actually a screenshot of Donald Trump's tweet. It says, Bidenomics. 1, you pay taxes. 2, I send money to Ukraine. 3, they send it back to Hunter. 4, Hunter gives it to me. 5, pardon Hunter. Got 25 likes. The Shagon Eye says, quote, this is a money laundering operation. All this money is being stolen from the American people. Should be forcefully exercised from every single politician on the Hill's salary and their investments, full stop, getting 105 likes. Which, yeah, if it actually came out of their pockets, they probably spend a lot less money on foreign nationals and foreign companies, foreign entities and countries. Yeah, a lot of people just calling it money laundering. Yeah, a lot of scary, a lot of creepy looking screenshots of Joe Biden looking creepier than usual, which is saying something. It's quite a feat to actually become even more viscerally disgusting. And yeah, I think most Americans are fed up with this crap. I mean, again, we're in debt. Americans are struggling. Another $50 billion from another country that most people can't point to on a map. I kind of blame the public schools for that. But in all seriousness, they're not a strategic partner, politically, geographically, or business-wise. This is ridiculous. So let me know in the comments. Do you think will Republicans do anything to even try to attempt to stop this? Do you think when Trump gets into office, maybe they'll try to clamp down on these things or stop it and maybe try to go back on these deals and say, oh yeah, no, we're not giving you that money. I mean, I hope so, but let me know the thoughts because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have the Montana Supreme Court blocking a ban on child transitioning, which, of all the states, I mean, you have California where they actually have teachers. They'll allow the teachers to indoctrinate the students and transition the students without the parents' notification. They actually said legally you don't have to tell the parents anything. Which is creepy. I understand that happening in California. That's their culture. I was shocked that this is happening in Montana. A lot of people are saying it's because of Californians moving from California to Montana. But still, it's happening in Montana. Yet another reason to make sure you vote, not just on the presidential elections, but anytime there's a judge up for a vote, anytime there's midterms, get out and vote and be informed. Just because they have an R next to the name or a D next to the name doesn't mean they're going to actually run that way and actually operate that way, especially when it comes to Republicans. There's so many rhinos out there. Just because it says Republican on the ballot, that doesn't mean anything these days. I always make sure, just take 5 minutes to Google or Brave search their background and see what their historic voting patterns are to see if they truly are Republican or if they're just shilling in their a rhino, which there are so many. Now, this comes with thanks to Lives at TikTok, in which she says, quote, breaking the Montana Supreme Court just blocked a law banning gender-affirming care for minors in the state. That's quote-unquote gender-affirming care. As we all know, yeah, not really a thing. She continued saying, quote, children in Montana can, Jesus, cover your ears here, children listening. This is viscerally heartbreaking, disgusting. So it says, quote, children in Montana can be chemically and surgically castrated in the name of radical gender ideology, unquote. Yeah. And this got 1.5 million views as well as 21,000 likes. Now, one of the first comments comes from America Papa Bear saying, quote, Montana has been invaded by the California rejects, unquote. Which, I'm not sure about the vernacular of that statement because, I mean, those are Californians true and true. Maybe there are people who rejected the state of California and decided to go somewhere else to destroy that state with irresponsible spending and cultural policies. Now, that got 1.5 thousand likes, American Papa Bear specifically, and one of the best responses, most handsome responses, I would argue, comes from The Topping Show, hashtag The Topping Show on X, which I say, quote, I believe they're called California commies, LOL, getting 5 likes. Planet of Memes, which, a little disappointing, they did not in fact respond in meme form, says, quote, this is just evil, there's no other word for it, getting 559, I think 560 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, Montana needs to lose all federal funding in 40 days, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Libercat Media TM has a compilation of all the different flags. Oh, I should say ideology flags. It says, please keep telling the kids. And it's a word next to every flag saying no one has to go along with this weird shit, getting 454 likes. A false flag says, men are not women. Gender-affirming care for children is a crime against humanity. It also happens to raise about $100,000 for each of the victims. Wow. Here you can see someone trying to put a ball through the pelvis of a man skeleton versus a woman skeleton. And yeah, spoiler alert, won't work on a man. Got 241 likes. Scrolling down more and more. I Love American News says, quote, Senator Mike Lee gets it. There's a place for people who mutilate children and belong. It's called prison, getting 747 likes, which in our lifetime, I think there's going to be a myriad of medical malpractice lawsuits against the kids, against their parents, as well as the doctors. I think at the end of the day, I mean, cultural, the two things that are really going to change this is not just politics, but also going to be, well, 3 things. It's going to be a big cultural thing in the United States as more and more people are brought to light to what gender-affirming care really is and what it actually entails and how irreversible it is. And I think it'll also be, again, it'll be political, it'll be cultural, then it's going to be settled in the legal room. All these lawsuits are going to put the brakes on a lot of these. Because again, if a doctor is going to be fined or he's going to be sued for $250,000 plus by a child who grows up and then can't really grow up because of these procedures, I mean, they're going to go bankrupt soon. They won't be able to get medical malpractice insurance because the policies will go up because they keep getting convicted in court, which again is yet another reason to ensure you are voting properly and you actually realize what the judge's policies and past and track record are when you do have the opportunity to vote for, not just judges, but sheriffs. And again, when you vote for politicians, who are they appointing judges on your behalf? Do they have a good track record of, appointing constitutionalist judges? You gotta stay informed. I know everyone's busy working. I know a lot of people are working so hard, don't get me wrong, but just a couple minutes of research can really make a difference. Going down more and more. Tad says, quote, if we don't stand up for children, they won't stand up for much. Getting 93 likes. Retired publicist says, quote, Munchausen syndrome by proxy, parenting is not something I admire. If you want to pay attention, cut off your... Jeez. I'm going to say cover your ears there, children listening. If you want attention, cut off your own healthy organs. Do not do it to kids who are too young to understand. And don't give them hormones that have always been known to, and the medical community finally admitted to, are not... Let me see here. It goes more. Not reversible. Getting 260 likes, which one of my favorite documentaries, or mockumentaries, some might call it, is What is a Woman by Matt Walsh in the Daily Wire. In which, yeah, there's a video of the compilation of all these Democrats and leftists and doctors, quote unquote. I use quotes because I don't consider them doctors because, I mean, the first rule is do no harm. There obviously are. In which they all claim, oh yeah, these drugs are completely reversible. Spoiler alert, they're not. Also, one of the main drugs is used to, again, cover your ears, actual listing. One of the main, most popular drugs that they use for quote unquote gender affirming care is, I believe, is Lupron. It's used for castrating sexual offenders. Now, for the record, in terms of castrating sexual offenders, I think that's an excellent application of justice. I like the idea of not having we should not have repeat offenders, but I digress on the topic for another time. But yeah, giving those to children, that's what the drugs are doing. Ridiculous. I got 260 likes. Scrolling down more and more, Planet, or declaration rather, of memes says, quote, they don't really live in reality. It's a trans flag with the words on it saying trans women are men, getting 1.1 thousand likes. Declaration means also says, even the ancient Stoics get it. And yeah, it's obviously a parody market here, so it really is, but there's a quote saying, your dog isn't vegan, your child isn't trans. Getting 1.3 thousand likes, which, yeah, just go on the YouTube and look up that video of the gal who pretends he thinks her dog is vegan. She goes on to show reporters, and the reporters put like a bowl of meat, and the vegan bowl of food for the dog to choose from. Dog immediately beelines for the meat. It's quite hilarious to see how disappointed she is. Like, oh yeah, you're pulling the strings. It's not the dog. Gecko Wrangler says, quote, how has Montana failed? There's something seriously wrong with our judiciary if this abomination can stand in a deep red state, getting 549 likes, which, again, I mean, by landmass, the U.S. is mostly red. There's a fun quote I like from the recent presidential election. It says, there's no such thing as, blue areas, it's only blue cities, because it really is. No blue counties really out there. On average, they're so small. Overall landmass is very much red in the United States. But again, a lot of people do it. I understand. Even earlier in my life, I understand I didn't invest as much time as I should when it comes to further vetting out these candidates that I'm voting for. I didn't really get serious about that until I was in my mid-20s, I would say, or say 21, early 20s. But yeah, you gotta make sure you know who you're voting for, because again, some of these judges may have thought, oh yeah, this is a constitutionalist Republican judge or right-leaning judge. They'll probably vote appropriately on what I want. And again, another thing is California with their complete cultural demise and their ridiculous over-taxation, over-regulation is pushing a lot of people out of the state. They're going somewhere. And a lot of those rich Californians are going to Montana and buying ranches and stuff. So we'll see. At the end of the day, I think this will go to the federal level. And I suspect I believe bans will be upheld if it goes to the United States Supreme Court. Again, this is Montana Supreme Court. But all that takes time and energy and resources. It's heartbreaking to think how many people and how many children are going to be hurt in the meantime. But let me know, how long do you think it'll take before the United States really resolves this particular issue? And do you think the people of Montana, will they vote different? What will they do differently? Do you think it'll cause an exodus, people moving out of the state? Let me know your thoughts are, because as always, it'll be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Stanley thermoses are being recalled after you spent an arm and a leg on them, which, yeah, never good for a brand that became a luxury, TikTok fancy cool brand, and then crashed and burned so epically. I would say the only good thermos from Stanley is probably one from the 50s that my grandpa gave me. And they were made in America by the company is actually Aladdin, and they're damn near bulletproof. I mean, you can't break them. Now, this comes to us thanks to the U.S. Consumer Safety Product Commission, in which they say, quote, Stanley recalls 2.6 million switchback and trigger action travel mugs due to burn hazard. Here you can see the iconic Stanley mug with their logo on there. Now, they note that, quote, these mugs lids threads can shrink when exposed to heat and torque, causing the lid to detach during use, posing a burn hazard. Which, yeah, this thing has to do two things. One, be a thermos, so, maintain cool or heat accordingly. And you have to screw on a cap onto it. It's a very short list of things it needs to do, Stanley. 2 things, in fact. I mean, yes, it's a higher number than AOC can probably count to, but I partially digress. So just the threads can shrink and really, and again, people are putting hot coffee and stuff in this. How do you not plan for this item to be used with heat and torque? That's where, yeah, you guys especially, we're gonna torque the crap out of that to make sure it's really tight. So you're gonna twist the crap out of that thing because you'd rather overdo it than underdo it because no one wants a leaky thermos. I mean, who's in charge of the quality control over here? Ouch. 2.6 million. Let me see here. Looks like they have some identifications here. You see 2 different styles there. I say the product identification number is located at the bottom of the mug. Let me see the ID number really quick here. Ouch. So it's pretty much every size. So it's the 12 ounce that's affected, the 16 ounce affected for the switchback, and then for the trigger action, which a little disappointing on a pistol trigger or something like that got on this, but I digress. It's the 12 ounce, the 16 ounce, and the 20 ounce. Now, the 12 ounces, the product identification number is 20-1437. The 16 ounce switchback is 20-01436 and 20-2211. 12 ounce is 20-2033, 20-02790 or 79 rather, 20-2825. 16 ounce trigger action is 20-02030, 20-02745, 20-02957, and the 20 ounce trigger action is 20-20034 and 20-02746. I'd say the remedy is consumers should immediately stop using the recalled travel mugs and contact Stanley to receive a free replacement lid, including shipping. That looks like, and no spoiler alert, manufactured in China, like Stanley has for decades, actually. Now, it's hilarious. They say on the bottom of the mug, designed in Seattle, which that's what Apple does. I think Apple really was one of the first companies to really emphasize the design location. It says, ethically manufactured in China. Which, yeah, I don't know about that, but they did put it on the mug. They printed it on there. Now, you see that quote, Stanley did receive 91 reports worldwide, including 16 in the U.S., of the recalled travel mug's lid detaching during use, resulting in 36 burn injuries worldwide, including 2 burn injuries in the U.S., with 13 consumers worldwide requiring medical attention. They're sold at Amazon, Walmart, Dick's, Target, and other stores nationwide between June 2016 and December 2024, and people spent between $20 and $50 depending on the model. Which, yeah, not good, Stanley. Again, this is one of the most expensive options you can get for carrying your coffee or whatever people put in there these days. And to have one of the most expensive options where, in theory, you're spending for better quality control, allegedly. And now, again, they went really viral this year. A lot of people bought these Stanley mugs and have a recall that chisels away your brand quality and just makes you look like, you can't design, pulls in mind, you can't design a top to just turn on to your thermos. Makes you look like amateurs. I gotta say, Stanley, that recall is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make sure better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.